any problem with your network issue, so no need to come in video. Okay, Alima, you can start. Tell your topic, then continue.
Yes,
Alima,
ma'am. My,
okay,
my
continue.
topic is osmosis and osmotic pressure. So, osmosis is the process in which a semi-permeable membrane is placed between a solvent and solution. The solvent particles from solvent side will move to solution side through the semi-permeable membrane. The semi-permeable membrane is the membrane which has minute pores and holes in itself and will let small particles to move uh, it, like water. And this process will move on till it achieves equilibrium. Osmotic pressure is the pressure which is applied to just stop osmosis. That is, when we apply this pressure, the solvent molecules from the solvent side will stop moving towards the solution side. And its symbol is pi, and its formula is pi is equal to MRT, where M stands for molar mass, R stands for gas constant, and T stands for temperature in Kelvin. Osmotic pressure is a colligative property, that is, it depends upon number of particles of solute present in solution. There are three types of solution present in depending upon osmotic pressure. First one is isotonic solution, that is, both the solutions will have the same osmotic pressure at a given temperature, and no osmosis will take place. Uh, and the second one is hypertonic solution, in which one solution will have higher osmotic pressure compared to another solution. And in this, osmosis will take place from the second solution to the first one. The third is hypotonic solution, in which one solution will have less osmotic pressure compared to the second one, and osmosis will take place from first solution to the second one. So these were the three solutions based on osmotic pressure. Osmotic pressure is very important in biology, as the cell membrane is highly selective towards the solute present in or found in living organisms, and it also determines the molar mass of the solute. There are two factors which affect osmotic pressure. First one is solute concentration. That is, higher the solute concentration, higher will be the osmotic pressure. And second is temperature. That is, higher the temperature, higher will be the osmotic pressure. There is also a term called reverse osmosis, also known as RO, in which uh, external pressure is applied to reverse osmosis. That is, when we apply external pressure, then the solution will start moving towards the solvent. It is used in desalination process in many countries, and it's very expensive. Desalination process is the process of getting drinking water from seawater. So that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, very good. So, Alima, you wait for some time. Anybody has any doubt, you can ask to Alima just now related to the topic osmosis and osmotic pressure. Any doubt anybody has? Unmute your mic and you can ask. So, I hope there will be no doubt. That's why complete silence is there. Anyway, Alima, it's very good. Keep it up.
Thank you,
Asta,
ma'am.
okay, right. Next is your turn, Asta.
Yes, ma'am.
Do your presentation. And your
So,
topic is,
my topic is vitamins and their classification.
okay, carry on.
Yes, ma'am. So, it is a known fact that we require energy in order to perform different activities. We get this energy from the food we eat, and apart from the normal food that we take, our body requires a certain number of compounds in small amounts for the proper functioning. And deficiency of these compounds may cause diseases. These compounds are known as vitamins. So, in general, we can say that vitamins are generally regarded as organic compounds required in the diet in small amounts to perform specific biological functions for normal maintenance of optimum growth and health of the organism. The 13 vitamins required by human metabolism are vitamin A, vitamin B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, B7, B9, B12, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. Vitamins have diverse biochemical functions. Vitamin A acts as a regulator of cell and tissue growth. Vitamin D provides a hormone-like function, regulating mineral metabolism for bones and other organs. The B complex vitamins function as enzyme cofactors. Vitamin C and E function as antioxidants. Both deficient and excess intake of a vitamin can potentially cause clinically significant illness. Now, moving on, vitamins are classified into two groups depending upon their solubility in fat and water, as fat soluble vitamins and water soluble vitamins. So, first of all, we take fat soluble vitamins. So, vitamins which are soluble in fat and oils but insoluble in water are kept in this group. The fat soluble vitamins include vitamin A, D, E, and K. Fat soluble vitamins are found in fatty foods such as vegetable oils and the fatty components of meat, seafood, dairy products, grain, nuts, seeds, and some fruits and vegetables. Also, fat soluble vitamins are stored in liver and adipose tissues. Adipose tissue is a fat storing tissue. Moving on to water soluble vitamins. 9 of the 13 essential vitamins are classified as water soluble vitamins. The water and it includes vitamins and vitamin C. Now, this means they are found in great abundance in watery food such as fruits and vegetables, and in watery components of grains, nuts, meats, and animal products. Also, water-soluble vitamins must be supplied regularly in our diet because they are readily excreted in urine. Like fat-soluble vitamins, they cannot be stored in our body, so they should be replenished on daily basis. At last, excess of vitamins is also harmful, and vitamin pills should not be taken without the advice of doctor. Thank you.
Okay, Asta, can you say which vitamin is responsible for coagulation of blood?
Coagulation of blood.
Ah. Otherwise, once there will be one wound in our body, so it will bleed for a long period of time. Deficiency of which vitamin causes this?
मैम वो तो प्लेटलेट करते हैं ना.
But there is one vitamin which play an important role here. And in fact, it is a hereditary disease. So try to find out the answer, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, very good, Asta. Keep it up. Anjali, this is next is your turn. Come. Anjali, please come in your video. It's not looking good. You are hiding and you are taking the class. If possible, okay? Good. Very good. Carry on.
My topic is cleansing action of a soap. Cleansing action of a soap results from the ability to lower the surface tension of water to emulsify oil or grease from the surface, and grease and to hold them in a suspension in water. This ability is due to the structure of the soap. A soap is a kind of molecule which have both two ends, the hydrophobic end and the hydrophilic end. When soap is dissolved in water, its hydrophobic end is attached themselves to a dirt and remove it from the surface. First, the molecule of the soap arrange themselves in a micelle formation and trap the dirt at the center of cluster. These micelles remain suspended in water as like particles in the colloidal solution. The various micelles present in water do not come together to form a precipitate, as each micelle repel the other because of ion-ion repulsion. Thus, the dirt particles remain trapped in the micelles and they are easily removed by using water. Hence, the micelles remove the dirt by dissolving in water. Now we are talking about the soaps. So soaps are the sodium and potassium fatty acid salts which are produced with hydrolysis of fats in a chemical reaction called saponification. saponification. In these process involves conversion of fats and oils into soaps and alcohols by the action of heating in the presence of aqueous alkali. Um, Ma'am, now the soap molecule have a long hydrocarbon chain, sometimes called a tail, and a carboxylate called a head. In water, the sodium and potassium ion flows freely, a negatively charged head. Now, soap is denoted by a general formula RCOO minus NF. The soaps are the stearic acids, are the fatty acids, which have a chemical formula C17H35COON. Now we are talking about some uses of soap cleansing. So usually we are using soaps for washing and many housekeeping. The second one, the soaps are using as lubricating product, and the third, in industry, the soaps are using as thickeners. Thank you, ma'am.
Very good, Anjali. Keep it up. And this clapping is for all the participants, all the three students. Okay, have you seen that clapping? Okay, it is for all the three students, those who had given the presentation. And next week, next three students are ready for the presentation. First three even numbers. Roll number 2, roll number 4, and roll number 6. Okay. Very good, Askar. Okay. Be ready for that. Three students. I hope you know your roll number. Roll number 2, roll number 4, and roll number 6. Okay. Be ready. Tuesday, your presentation will be there. Okay. So we will continue our class. So anybody wants to say something? No. Okay. So let us continue with what we have discussed. Last class we have completed ammonia and nitric
मैम
acid.
एग्जाम कुछ बता दो मैम, थोड़ा टाइम टेबल कुछ तो आया होगा मैम, कुछ आगे तो बताओ मैम.
See, Sriyesh, if it will be until unless it will not be official, so I can't say
मैम
anything.
कैसे होगा यही बता दो.
So I will tell you. The question paper has two parts. One is MCQ and other is descriptive type. Okay, and subject to subject it varies. Suppose chemistry part, I want to put only 5 MCQ. So these 5 questions answers you will be doing Google form. Okay, the other one is descriptive and execution of the examination. So that we can't say anything now because it is it to be finalized. When it will be finalized, so then I'll tell you. Let me first know the procedure and all properly, so then I'll tell. Okay, MCQ
So
is
मैम how will we write the equations in the computer मैम? We don't have that.
Computer, no need to. It is not in the Google form, Sriyesh. Only Google form MCQ part is there, and the rest of the part is descriptive. Suppose 5-mark question is there. So, and the mode of examination is online, and how it will be executed. So that we are discussing, and we will inform you very soon. Okay, but think about chemistry in this way: 5-mark MCQ will be there, and 30 marks descriptive questions will be there. And always remember, the examination will be totally depends on concepts. Okay, may not be any direct question. Okay, so prepared accordingly. Clear?
One date.
Date also it is going to finalize by tomorrow. Okay, I will tell, don't bother about much. Okay, first you complete your part, do the revision.
Second week कर लो मैम.
Okay, let us see. Okay, don't see, you try to start revision. I know that you have started already. Okay, go ahead and complete all the revision so you can do well. Okay, Sriyesh?
कहाँ रिवीजन बोल रहे हो मैम? आप एक बार भी नहीं पढ़ा है अभी तक कुछ.
Sriyesh, don't bother
Okay
about
ma'am, can you tell how many chapters are coming?
5 chapters. Chemistry 5 chapters are coming. P block is coming, organic first and second, and solution, last surface chemistry. 5 chapters. It is finalized already. because I am also doing the question paper section now in the school only. Okay, so I'm doing that, but it is different from the normal examination. You know that mode of examination is online, so the question paper will be also different. The MCQ you will be answer on the spot. Time lag, time limitation is there. So after that particular time, suppose chemistry का MCQ 5 मार्क के 5 क्वेश्चन आपको दे दूंगी मैं, आपको 2 मिनट्स में कंप्लीट करके सबमिट करना है. Suppose this is an example. It is not necessary that
तो नेट भी नहीं चलता घर पे.
नेट की इशू होपफुली नहीं होगा, क्योंकि जिस दिन पेपर होगा उस दिन थोड़ी कॉन्शियस रहो, उस दिन ज्यादा गेम मत खेलना. ठीक है, पूरा डाटा प्रिजर्व करके रख लो एग्जाम के लिए. ठीक है, बहुत अच्छे से जहाँ पे नेटवर्क आते हैं ना, सिग्नल आते हैं वहीं पे बैठ जाए. ठीक है, सो देन इट विल नॉट क्रिएट एनी प्रॉब्लम. ओके ओके, खुश रहो, अच्छे से प्रिपरेशन करो. ठीक है, टेंशन मत लेना. सो कैन आई कंटिन्यू? हाँ अनमेरी.
मैम हमारा फाइनल तो ऑफलाइन होगा, तो मैम अभी ऑनलाइन लेवल का मतलब इतना टफ बना कि क्या ही होगा, क्योंकि क्वेश्चन का लेवल क्योंकि इसमें अलग होगा, तो फाइनल में तो वैसे भी इतने हाई लेवल का आना नहीं, तो फिर इतना टफ बना के क्या होगा?
टफ है, सी अनमेरी, इट डिपेंड्स. टफ और हार्ड मैंने बोला ही नहीं कुछ. कंसेप्चुअल लर्निंग का मतलब टफ नहीं है. If you know the concept, you can understand the question well. Okay. ठीक. Hope for the best. Depends on you only. Okay. So I will continue. Can I? Anmiri? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now I am going to share my screen. So because it is in organic chemistry, we can do this mode. Let us do today. So today we will discuss 16th group elements. Okay, 16th group elements we will discuss today. So write group 16 elements and write down the name of all elements in 16th group. You can start writing from oxygen. First element is oxygen. You can start writing. Either you can write the symbol or you can write the name. Okay, write the name of all elements in 16th group. First is oxygen, then sulfur, selenium, tellurium, and polonium. Okay, oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, and polonium. Okay, now first two elements, oxygen and sulfur, are non-metals, and the rest two elements, selenium and tellurium, are metalloids, and the last element, polonium, is a metal, typical metal. Okay, oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium, and the group is known under the name chalcogen, means they are forming ores. Most of the ores are either they are oxides or they are sulfides. Okay, now let us think about the occurrence. You know that sulfur exists in both the forms, in the elemental form as well as in the compound form. So for example, in the elemental form, it is present in egg, sulfur, garlic, onion, hair, wool. These all are substances which contain sulfur. Okay, and oxygen, you know that oxygen is how much percentage of oxygen is there in earth crust? 46.6% oxygen in the earth crust, 46.6, and near about 21, that means 20.946, that much percentage is there in atmosphere. Okay, so this is general points regarding elements. Now let us directly come to the first point, atomic properties. Write the heading, Roman letter you can use 1. Atomic properties. Okay, atomic properties you can write. First atomic property is, right, electronic configuration. First point is electronic configuration. You can write the configuration. General configuration only. NS2NP4. NS2NP4. Very important. Okay. First property. Second point is atomic and ionic radius. You can mention the second point, atomic and ionic radii. Okay, atomic and ionic radii. So when we compare the size of 15th and 16th group element, 16th group elements are smaller than 15th group element. So what is the reason behind that? Because of the increase in effective nuclear charge. Due to the increase in effective nuclear charge which pulls the electron towards itself. Okay, this is regarding horizontal comparison of atomic radii between group 15 and group 16. Try to justify the point also. Okay, so this is the second property. Then now I will give one conceptual question. O or O2 minus, which is larger in size? Oxygen or oxide ion? O2 minus. Which is larger in size and why? Anyone? Anyone can say the answer? Understood the question? Oxygen atom and oxide ion. That means O2 minus. Which is larger in size and why? Am I audible to all?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, O.
Okay. That means, which is larger in size?
O.
Oxygen. Why?
Ma'am, because of nuclear force of attraction.
So every case atom has nuclear force of attraction.
Ma'am,
So my question
there are
is,
less electrons in outermost shell. In outermost shell is not completely filled, ma'am.
that's why it is larger in size. Phanendra, Phanendra बोल रहे ना?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the answer is O2 minus, oxide ion. So I will explain why O2 minus is larger in size. When oxygen converted into O2 minus, you know that O2 minus indicate that oxygen gained 2 more electrons. So under that particular condition, number of protons in oxide ion is 8. Number of electrons in oxide ion is 10. Got it? Say something, yes or no. Got it?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Understood this much? Number of proton 10 and number of electron, number of proton 8, number of electron 10. This is of oxide ion. In the case of oxygen atom, oxygen atom has both proton and electron, same number, 8 protons and 8 electrons. Okay. Now, because of the excess electron in the outermost shell of oxide ion, there is inter-electronic repulsion. Inter-electronic repulsion between electrons, excess electrons of M shell and that of L shell. Understood? KLM. So oxygen has the configuration 2,6. Okay, wait. 2,6. And if 2 electrons are added, so it is coming to which shell? KL shell. So L shell. So L shell 8 electrons are there and K shell 2 electrons are there. So in this way total 10 electrons are there. So because of that inter-electronic repulsion is there and this exceed the nuclear charge, nuclear pooling. Exceeding means what? Inter-electronic repulsion predominate nuclear force of attraction. Okay, because of that, oxide ion is larger in size. Okay, so you have to understand this particular case. General question also important. What is the general question? Atom or its anion, which is larger in size and why? So then here it is a specific question, oxygen or oxide ion, which is larger in size. 2 points are there, but number of electron is more in L shell. So interelectronic repulsion is existing. That's why oxide ion is larger in size. Clear? So this point you have to remember along with the ionic and atomic radii. And along the group, what about the atomic size? Atomic size increases. Okay, that means from oxygen to polonium, size of the atom increases. So this is second point, and third point is ionization enthalpy. Ionization enthalpy. Okay, what is ionization enthalpy? You know the definition. So it is the amount of energy required to remove the most loosely held electron from the gaseous neutral. Correct. Now, one more, here we can compare ionization enthalpy of group 15 and group 16. What do you think? Ionization enthalpy of which group is more?
50.
1,5 or 1,6?
1,5.
Very good. What is the reason behind?
More stable half-filled p subshell electronic configuration of group 15 elements.
Very good, very good. Because nitrogen has half-filled p subshell. Right. Suppose let us compare first element. Or general configuration is NS2 NP3. 3 means what? Half-filled shell. So half-filled shell is more stable. Half-filled orbitals are more stable. So that's why their ionization enthalpy is more. And in 16th group, configuration is NS2 NP4. So there this impact is not there. So that's why this comparison is important. Ionization enthalpy of oxygen or nitrogen, which is high and why? Conceptual question. Okay, remember that. And otherwise, there is normal tendency. Ionization enthalpy decreases from oxygen to polonium due to the increase in size, atomic size. And when we comes to the p block element, there is one more effect which is predominating. Shielding effect is also there. Shielding effect. Okay, and these two effects overcome increase in nuclear charge. That's why ionization enthalpy decreases from oxygen to polonium. Okay. So this is the second point regarding this. First point is electronic configuration. Second point is atomic size, ionic size. Third point is electron gain enthalpy. Electron gain enthalpy. Third point is ionization enthalpy, and fourth point is electron gain enthalpy. Okay, so electron gain enthalpy means what? It is amount of energy released when an electron is added to an isolated gaseous atom. So normal tendency is that electron gain enthalpy decreases from top to bottom along the group. This is the normal tendency along the group. But in this case, this point is very important. When we compare electron gain enthalpy of sulfur and oxygen, oxygen has less electron gain enthalpy compared to sulfur. Just contradiction. First case, oxygen has lower electron gain enthalpy compared to sulfur. What may be the possible reason? Single reason is there. What is the reason?
Compact size.
Very good. Because of the small size. Because of the small size, because you know that sulfur atomic number is 16, configuration is 286. Oxygen atomic number 8 and its configuration 26. So 2 shells are there in oxygen and 3 shells are there in sulfur. compared to sulfur, oxygen is in compact form. That's why its electron gain enthalpy is less compared to that of sulfur. Okay, and the last point is electronegativity. Fifth point, atomic property. Fifth point is electronegativity. So electronegativity decreases from top to bottom along the group. Okay, electronegativity, no definition, no need to remember it again and again. This is all about the atomic property. Now let us think about the physical property. Okay, write down the physical property. Number one, physical state of the elements. Physical state. Physical state means they are metals, non-metals, or metalloids. First point you can remember in this way. So oxygen, sulfur are, so here it is mentioned wrong. Oxygen and sulfur are non-metals, and selenium and tellurium are metalloids, and polonium is a typical metal, and it is a radioactive metal. Okay, so this is the first point, and second point is allotropy. This point is important. Allotropy. They are capable of exhibiting allotropy. Okay, allotropic forms. Oxygen, two allotropic forms are there, you can see. And even you know that. Oxygen and ozone. Sulfur, so many forms are there. Okay, let me say orthorhombic sulfur, prismatic sulfur, plastic sulfur, milk of sulfur. 4 different forms are there. Okay, orthorhombic sulfur, or another one is monoclinic. Alpha, beta, these are different forms. Okay, and next one is plastic sulfur, milk of sulfur. These are some allotropic forms of sulfur. Similarly, tellurium also has, selenium also has. So generally, you can make the comment. They shows allotropism. So that means they are capable of showing allotropic forms. Okay, and next one. This is also a conceptual question. There is a large difference in melting point and boiling point of oxygen and sulfur. Why? Understood the
Small size. O2 and S8. That's
repeat the answer.
Ma'am, oxygen molecule has 2 atoms, but sulfur molecule has 8 atoms.
Okay, good. So sulfur has the molecular mass very high. We are about 256. Oxygen has only 32. So as molecular weight increases, melting point and boiling point also will increase. So this is the reason behind. It is due to related to its atomicity. Atomicity of oxygen is 2 and atomicity of sulfur is 8. S8. Everybody knows the formula. So this is again an important question. Okay. This is all about physical property, and third property is chemical property. Chemical properties of group 16 elements. Okay. First point is oxidation state. There are 4 different oxidation state of 16th group element. I will tell you NS2 NP4. So that means this 4 electrons are there in the p-sub shell. It requires 2 more electrons. So this is the natural tendency. So it is very difficult to lose 4 electrons. Suppose element like oxygen, it is very difficult. So the most common oxidation state is -2, and the next oxidation state is remaining 3 oxidation states are positive. So first is -2, second is +2, and third is +4, and the last one is +6. Okay, so altogether 4 different oxidation states are there: -2, +2, +4, +6. Most common oxidation state you underline there -2. When we compare the stability of +4 and +6, Which is more stable? Sriyash. +4 or +6 oxidation state, which is more stable? Sriyash, am I audible to you? Why I am asking to you, you know there is a reason behind. Can you say? What is the reason? Okay, tell me, which is more stable, +4 or +6? Okay. Can anyone say the answer?
+4.
+4. What is the reason?
Inert pair.
Inert pair effect. It was the topic presented by Sriyash. That's why. Anyway, so +4 state is more stable compared to +6 oxidation state. Okay, so the reason is inert pair effect. We don't want to explain much about inert pair effect because this is the only significance part we will discuss only comparison of oxidation state +4 or +6. That's all. So this is the first property, and second property you can remember that anomalous property of oxygen. This is common in all cases. So, which are the properties you can mention? Small size, high electronegativity, high ionization enthalpy, absence of vacant desumption. This is common in all first element of each group in P block. Okay. So this is a common question. Next point is third point. Reactivity towards hydrogen. Very important point. That means how 16th group elements reacts with the hydrogen and which are the possible forms. So I will ask the question to somebody, say the answer. Manjul, say what is the formula of hydrate of oxygen?
Ma'am, can you repeat it again?
What is the formula of hydrate of oxygen?
Hydrate of oxygen.
So because we are talking of hydrides, compounds of hydrogen. So say the formula of hydrate of oxygen. Ayush, can you?
I forgot.
I'm not.
Okay. Anybody?
H2.
H2O. Very good. Very good, Anne-Marie. Hydride means oxygen reacts with hydrogen, forming which compound? Water. Okay, another question, conceptual. Is it oxide of hydrogen or hydrate of oxygen? Which is the appropriate term? Hydrate of oxygen or oxide of hydrogen?
Oxide of hydrogen.
Hydride.
Okay, whatever be your answer, you try to justify it. Who said it is hydride?
Manjul.
Okay, Manju. Suppose it is hydrate. Why? Why is it called hydrate and not oxide? There must be some reason. Okay. Anyway,
Ma'am,
come on. You can say.
ma'am, because the definition of hydride is, ma'am, we know that the definition of hydride is a binary compound of hydrogen reacts with any metal to form hydride. So it is hydride.
Okay. So then tell me, oxygen is a metal or non-metal?
Oxygen is a non-metal.
Obviously. So the rule has changed. Any other
Yes,
answer?
ma'am.
Anybody can say that oxide? It is called oxide.
Oxide.
Oxide. Why?
It is more electronegative.
Simple. This is a very important point. Keep it in rectangular box. Okay. The compound is known under the name of more electronegative element. Suppose two elements are there in the compound, like H2O. Two elements are there, hydrogen and oxygen. Which is more electronegative? Oxygen is more electronegative. So it is known under the name oxide of hydrogen, not hydrate of oxygen. Okay. Very important point. This is applicable in the case of non-metals. Suppose one compound is formed from two non-metals forming a covalent bond. There, this is the case. Okay. Manjul, is it clear to you? Manjul? Okay. Now,
Yes, ma'am.
write all the compounds formed when 16th group element react with the hydrogen. First example is there H2O, okay, which is the second formula, second hydrate of the second element, H2S, hydrogen sulfide. Third is H2SE. Write all the name in vertical way. H2SE, then H2TE, then H2PU. No need to write that. Why? Because polonium is a radioactive metal. So we are talking of chemical reactivity. And one more question from this part. H2O and H2S both are compounds formed by the reaction with hydrogen. But H2S is a gas and H2O is a liquid under normal condition. Why? What is the reason? Write down the question. Water is a liquid and H2S is a gas. Hydrogen sulfide is gas. Why is it so? What is the reason behind? Single reason is there. Why H2O is a liquid?
Because of hydrogen bond.
Very good. Because of hydrogen bonding. Very good. Keep it up. Intermolecular hydrogen bonding is there in water. Because of that, it exists in the liquid form. And sulfur is less electronegative, and moreover, more electronegative elements, only three are involved in hydrogen bonding: oxygen, nitrogen, and fluorine. So sulfur has less electronegativity, so then there is no scope of hydrogen bonding. That's why H2S exists as a gas. Okay, very important. Okay, so we will continue in the next class. Okay, prepared for the examination. Clear? So now I am stop sharing. I am coming back to our class. So I am so sorry. Now it is 2:14. Okay, so I have taken some time from your resting time. I have